deck that he played in Players Cup 4. Going to be rolling up with that Rapid Strike Urshifu VMAX combined with Inteleon. And we see Inteleon also on the other side of the table. Henry Brand choosing to go with this Inteleon over the Sword and Shield, not playing a single copy of the Sword and Shield Inteleon, which most Ice Rider decks have tended to favor.
Yeah, and I'm going to say I'm surprised to see this choice from Henry. He was a big Zoroark GX player, so my first thought was maybe he'll bring up Shadow Rider. And then, of course, he's been kind of the poster boy for Mewtwo and Mew GX over the past couple of years. Thought he might bring that. Nope. Just completely surprising us all with the Ice Rider.
Yeah, it seems like that was the choice here, and I'm excited to see what will happen in this game. Let's go ahead and get down to the table. One thing to note, Henry also playing that one of Cobalion GX. Same thing that we saw from Natalie in our very first game today. You know, that was able to just buy her a few turns in very key situations. And that could be the same case here for Henry. Henry also played that card in his Worlds winning deck with Mewtwo and Mew GX. So he's got a lot of experience, maybe more than any other player with Iron Rule GX.
These Australian players, they work together. They come up with crazy ideas, and clearly they work. We'll see that Iron Rule GX come up once again. There's always a chance, although it is a bit more awkward when your opponent is also playing Inteleon.
Definitely. And we see Henry is actually here once the cards are flipped over, starting a very interesting Pokemon as well in that Articuno here, having that ability that protects your water-type Pokemon on the bench, so your opponent is unable to play boss's orders to bring them up. And this just really gives you a lot of time to get set up, and the math also works out very well with Cold Cyclone as the attack here, dealing 70 damage. That stacks up perfectly for the 250 that Max Lance can deal once you get 2 energies on it.
Yeah, and this probably won't come up as much, but I think it has resistance to fighting, which means G-Max Rapid Flow also can't knock it out.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of funny.
Yeah, water-type Pokemon with fighting resistance, not something that we see too often, but look at this start here from Alex Schemanske. Evolution Incense, Rapid Strike Urshifu VMAX, double Drizzle in hand right away, and a Marnie to follow up. And also has the Tower of Waters to get that pivot out of the active spot. And Henry missed an energy attachment on his turn, which is a huge whiff over there on Henry's side.
Yep. This looks like the start of someone who won a Players' Cup recently. This is pretty amazing. Pretty much everything you could ask for. But this is how this deck is designed, right? Once you get a couple Sobble down, it's just one Drizzile. Lets you search for a level ball to get another one, and then before you know it, there's 2 or 3 Inteleon in play, and all your Pokemon are knocked out.
And wisely here, Alex, gonna go with the professor's research, does not want to give Henry a new hand, is totally aware of the fact Henry did not attach a single energy card. And kind of interesting here, Articuno meant to block your benched Pokemon from being targeted down early on, but Escape Rope does get around that Blizzard Veil ability, and now Alex will be able to get a hit off. Henry gonna go ahead and just send up this Ice Rider Calyrex V, wants to value keeping that Sobble around since that Drizzile is already in hand.
Yeah, I think you have to. If that Sobble gets knocked out, you have nothing. You can't play the Melanie. There's no water in your discard, so gotta go for it. But oh wow, that is a very good draw for Henry. Now he can grab this. He can search up something like a Quick Ball to discard a water energy, play the Melanie, and actually attack this turn. This looked like it was going to be basically just a pass and doing nothing, but now he can attack. This is huge.
Yeah, probably just the best top deck, to be honest. It's a little unfortunate that you're having to attack with this Ice Rider VMAX that is already going to have 150 damage on it, but after such a bad start, just getting an attack here on turn 2 is amazing, and that's exactly what Henry needs to do. Is going to take a moment here to check the prize card, something you'll always see the top level players doing, especially on PTCGO. It's so much easier to check your prizes on PTCGO compared to like having to go through an unsorted deck, you know, when you're playing with real cards, but it makes it so easy to just check quickly, and you'll see all these players doing that most likely throughout this event.
Definitely. Now, Henry, he's going to be in an awkward spot here. As you said, his active is already damaged, so it's a question of am I supposed to actually commit to this? If I evolve, it's going to be a pretty easy 3-prize knockout. At the same time, if you don't evolve, it's going to be an easy 3-prize knockout for Gmax Rapid Flow. And this is just the pressure and the just difficult situations that this Urshifu Inteleon deck puts you in. It just feels like none of your Pokemon are safe a lot of the time, especially once there's 2 or 3 Inteleon in play, raining down, 2, 4, 6 damage counters. You add it all up with Gmax Rapid Flow, and it's just like, what can I do? They can do damage everywhere.
Yeah, this 40 damage hit is actually kind of relevant here from Henry. It means that this Rapid Strike Urshifu VMAX can be knocked out in a couple of turns with a couple of quick shooting pings after being hit for a Max Lance for 250. So it's going to allow for some decent math there, but this Urshifu is going to be around for, it's not going to be able to be dealt with super quickly. It's going to be a knockout later on in the game, and with Alex's aggressive start, it's still looking kind of tough. I mean, we see a turn 3 double Inteleon in play. What is this, Kyle?
It's brutal if you're Henry, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is one of those starts where you just look and you say, how does this deck ever lose? What do you do against this? And yeah, he's just going to spread damage around, take down the Drizzile before it can evolve, and say, okay, if you ever evolve into the VMAX, I'm just going to Gale Thrust and get 3 prizes. If you don't evolve, what are you going to do? You're not going to do enough damage to knock me out.
Yeah, it's a tough spot, and targeting down that Drizzile. Once again, closed decklist tournament, so Alex does not know that Henry actually does not play the Sword and Shield Inteleon. Oh, never mind. There's one copy in the deck. But that targeting down that Drizzile does get rid of that draw out that Henry would have had in order to, get something like a research, or maybe even find something like a boss's orders, who knows. This is definitely a situation, though, where that Cobalion GX could come up, but it's tough for the Cobalion to have too big of an effect whenever your opponent is still going to be able to, it buys you a turn, but it also gives your opponent a turn to just go ahead and spread some damage as well with the Inteleon. And speaking of which, there's the third one on the top deck for Alex.
Yeah, this has just been a flawless game for Alex. He's drawn everything he needs every turn, gotten attacks off every turn. Henry's going to do what he can to try to not lose, but having played against this deck a lot, let me tell you, when somebody gets into this kind of a start, you don't beat Urshifu very often.
And we're going to see the retreat go ahead into the Rapid Strike Urshifu. Gale Thrust will pick up the KO thanks to the damage placed last turn with the quick shooting. And Alex actually not going to evolve that benched Drizzile. Wants to leave the out open for that one copy of the Sword and Shield Inteleon that he does play, just in case of, a reset stamp from Henry, as we do see that Inteleon is actually drawn here off the prize cards.
Yep, but I think Henry sees how this one's going and says, I'll go first in the next one, and maybe don't do that to me next time.
Yeah, just give me a break, man. Come on, we're trying to have some fun here. And it just did not go Henry's way in this first game. Henry will get to go first, like we mentioned, like we just saw Henry choose. And here with that Gmax Rapid Flow doing enough damage to take 4 prize cards on this turn. More than necessary to win the game.
And 2 win conditions. His opponent doesn't even have any Pokemon left.
Yeah, satisfying. Multiple win conditions. As if Alex wasn't already in such a good spot, just winning the game in multiple ways there. Well played by Alex. That was just the dream scenario. If you set up that good, there's nothing that's going to stop Alex in this tournament.
Definitely, yeah. Maybe Shadow Rider Calyrex can keep up with that, but I don't know. I don't know if Ice Rider Calyrex VMAX can keep up with that. We'll see, though. We have seen the Ice Rider decks struggle so far, but we also haven't really seen one that's had a good start yet, so maybe things will turn around in game 2.
Yeah, I was actually going to be interested to see how this matchup would play out. Alex didn't play against any Ice Riders in Players Cup 4. There was only one player playing it in the whole tournament. Christian Husbani brought it to the event, but there's 3 players out of this 8-person field who rolled up with the Ice Rider, so I'll be interested to see how the matchup plays out. Obviously, that first game went very much in Alex's favor, but if Henry can get a little bit more set up, you know, things could definitely go either way. Let's go ahead and get down to the table. Henry will be going first here and is going to try to do his best to force a game 3. We've only seen 2 O's so far, Kyle. Is Henry going to be the first player to give us a game 3?
I hope so. I want to see more games, but we'll see. If he doesn't get an Ice Rider Calyrex V down turn 1, we might not, though.
Yeah, definitely looking to top deck something like a Quick Ball or the Ice Rider. Does get the Ice Rider, but it's not the basic. And that's the big miss. I mean, even if you with the attachment, we talked about this earlier, you can still have an option with Melanie to accelerate and get an attack off. As long as you get one down, the Ice Rider onto the bench right away, and Henry just doesn't have that option. Debating attaching to the Sobble Heal here, but Keep Calling only finds you Rapid Strike Pokemon, so not going to be worthwhile on next turn to, you know, pull off that play. And Henry, outside of this turn as well, just really is kind of relying on the top deck to bail him out.
Chip, look at this hand from Alex. This is almost as perfect as you could get. He's got Quick Ball, he's got an Energy to attach, he's got 2 more level balls. He's just going to have 3 Sobble and an Urshifu V powered up already.
Jeez.
I mean, you can't draw this up any better.
Yeah, I don't think, I mean, if Alex had stacked his deck, this might be the lineup of cards that he would have wanted to see here. Does get the Karate Belt down as well. I mean, usually a pretty important card, but in this situation, in this matchup as well, when you're kind of being the one who is the aggressor, maybe not going to be that relevant and kind of just a fine thing to thin out of the deck at this point. Go ahead and throw it in play just in case it does come up. But I mean, yeah, with the, oh geez, Jerseal in hand, we see Escape Rope, we see the Rapid Strike Urshifu VMAX. Alex is setting up very nicely.
Yep. Now, I was wondering last turn if Henry would have just kept the Water Energy in hand. That would have let him Shady Dealings for a Quick Ball. You know, you discard the Water, so then it lets you play Melanie, draw 3 cards, get the Energy. He decided attaching was better, so he won't have that option now, but we'll see what he decides to go with.
Yeah, it looks like we will see the Shady Dealings. Henry did luckily top deck that Ice Rider Calyrex V, so gets bailed out a little bit there. We'll still be able to Melanie on to that Pokemon. We'll have to retreat, though, into this Drizzio that he has just put into play, or retreat into the Ice Rider, but I really don't feel like you want to put that Ice Rider in harm's way right away.
Definitely not. You want that thing to be at full HP when it starts attacking. Otherwise, what we saw in the last game happens where it gets one attack off and then it gets knocked out. So, yeah, this is yet again a bad start from the old Ice Rider deck. But he is going to send this up so he can play Melanie and I guess get in a hit for 40, but it's just going to be such a tough position.
We'll be able to get another Ice Rider Calyrex Calyrex V down into play, and is actually going to go ahead and just eye up the Mew here. Going to try to protect these Drizzials on the bench. I kind of expected to see a Shady Dealings grabbing a Quick Ball here to get an attachment onto a different Ice Rider, but I guess it doesn't really matter as far as spreading the damage goes. At this point in the game, you're probably still going to be VMAXing both of them.
Definitely, yeah. And yeah, this looked like it was going to be a bad start for Henry, but it actually turned around pretty quickly. Obviously, you would have preferred to be attacking with the VMAX this turn and knocking out this Sobble instead, but gets to Drizzile, has the Mew, which was actually prized last game, which is also a very important card against this deck. And so G-Max Rapid Flow, not really going to do anything. And here you see the difference between going first and second. At this point, Alex would have already had Drizzile in play, would be ready to evolve into Inteleon, and perhaps starts putting some damage counters onto the Mew to chip away at it. But now he's going second. Henry's the first one who's going to be able to get Inteleon into play, and it might look a lot different.
Alex is going to go ahead and evolve this active. Probably going to eye up the switch here, I would imagine, to go into the Rapid Strike Urshifu to get the attack off. So it was a big turn for Henry to go ahead and get that Mew down. Actually, maybe eyeing up the boss here, Kyle. We could see that energy come down, or just go with the Escape Rope into the boss's orders and maybe target down that Mew so that G-Max Rapid Flow has free reign.
Yeah, this is going to be brutal for Henry because he just discarded his ordinary rod.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would assume Alex is going to go for boss's orders on the Mew. This is a play that happens a lot, and it almost feels like it's unfair. We're like, no, I have Mew down. I'm supposed to be safe. And they just boss it up and knock it out. And then all of a sudden you're back to being vulnerable.
Yeah, and what can happen here for Alex is G-Max Rapid Flow to take 2 1-prize Pokemon knockouts, targeting down either these Drizzile or Inteleons if they do become Inteleon, and then clean up the game by just 2-hit KOing 1 VMAX. So this way Alex avoids having to try to get through 2 Ice Rider VMAX.
And we see Henry going for a different route here, attaching a third energy to the Ice Rider Calyrex V. It has a decently powerful attack for Pokemon V, I think hitting for 220 damage, which does set up for a 2-hit knockout and perhaps makes it so he doesn't have to put a VMAX in danger. This could be a big difference in the math of how this game plays out. Also going to find Evolution Incense, get an Inteleon down, and search for 2 more trainer cards, and we'll probably see the quick shooting one come out this turn as well. Not sure how relevant these 2 damage counters are going to be, but it's better than not putting free damage counters in play, I guess.
Definitely. I mean, quick shooting, such a strong ability, but it's really only great the longer it stays around. The more turns you have to utilize quick shooting, the more damage you can put in play, obviously. And the quicker you can get these stage 2s in play, the quicker they come into effect, the longer they're around for. And both of these decks really just want help with their damage numbers, and that's where quick shooting is really strong. But it doesn't look like Henry is going that route. Maybe recognizing the math doesn't quite work out in his favor right now, and is just going to be content going with a 200 damage attack, trying to set up this Rapid Strike Urshifu VMAX being knocked out.
Yeah, I wonder if something was prized and Henry didn't realize it. It was kind of an awkward, shady dealings when you search for 2 supporter cards you can't play this turn. I can't imagine you would really want to do that very often. I guess it does get one of your Drizzile out of G-Max Rapid Flow range, but ideally you would, grab cards you could play that turn, right?
Definitely. I mean, and especially since you're grabbing 2 supporter cards, it does give you the option for 2 cards on the next turn, but you can only play one of those per turn. So grabbing 2 cards is kind of a sign of just like, I want to leave myself with options, but I mean, I think also Henry did want to evolve this to, not give Alex the easy 2 prizes, right? This takes that Inteleon out of, being knocked out as a Drizzile. And Alex will go ahead and go with the Marnie. Does find another Drizzile. We'll be able to get another trainer card and try to set up for getting another Inteleon in play on the next turn.
Yeah, the brutal part of this, though, is Alex plays Marnie and puts those supporter cards you wanted on the bottom of your deck.
Yeah, yep.
So it really hurts to have, especially that Melody, go to the bottom. And now you don't even have the option of... evolving 2 Inteleon. Now he does play a Scoop Up Net, so he could draw into that, but this is looking a little rough.
Gonna go ahead and target down that Ice Rider on the bench, dealing 150 damage thanks to that Throwing Coach ability from that Passimian. Such a huge card out of Chilling Reign that really gave quite a big boost to Rapid Strike Urshifu VMAX, just giving you so much more damage in play and makes it much easier to deal with VMAX Pokemon once they retreat to the bench. It kind of works, as a way to just, G-Max Rapid Flow is kind of a replacement boss's orders in some situations, right? Where, you want to target something that's being protected on the bench. You need to play a different supporter, but G-Max Rapid Flow still lets you target that Pokemon down.
Brutal draw for Henry, as he does draw the Scoop Up Net, but now has nothing to play the cards back onto since the Drizzile was knocked out by G-Max Rapid Flow. Just completely drew a dead hand off of the Marnie. And it might be looking like that trend of every match being 2-0 will continue.
Yeah, not looking great here. I'm wondering if Alex has a path to win the game this turn. I don't think he can quite take the one prize. It's pretty easy to pick up the knockout this turn, actually, on the... Well, I guess now that you're playing Research, you can't really do it. But does find the Rapid Strike Urshifu VMAX, but no way to move the active here. So Alex might actually just have to pass for a turn.
Yep, but even passing isn't that bad. You get to use a couple quick shooting abilities. I mean, you're up 2 prize cards, and now you have essentially set up your game-winning G-Max Rapid Flow in a future turn. Henry does get a huge draw with the Professor's Research, so he could end up getting a knockout here. But, I mean, without a Mew in play, how are you going to block this big, 4 prize turn that's coming up?
I mean, we do see the scoop up net in Henry's hand, so I wonder if Henry could go with a route to, get one of... he only plays the 1 copy, so it's not like you can pick up both of these 1 prize Pokemon. Maybe if Henry had not benched the Sobble, we could see that Inteleon picked up and take away that easy 1 prize that Alex has set up now, but... Doesn't look like... I mean, it's kind of tough because, Henry didn't know he was going to be drawing Professor's Research, obviously, so wanted to put the Sobble down, but now it's become a situation where if he hadn't put it down, maybe he could have played to not have these 1 prize Pokemon in play for this easy prize from Alex.
Yeah, and this is kind of an awkward spot. It's a spot where I think you actually want your Ice Rider VMAX to be in the active. That way G-Max Rapid Flow doesn't hit it for more damage. But I think either way, there's gonna be enough damage where from the quick shooting abilities, just 1 more G-Max Rapid Flow is gonna end the game. And you're also in this super awkward spot of, if you knock out the active VMAX, you take 3 prizes and you actually activate Alex's Karate Belt, making it easier for him to win.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. That's definitely something that Henry has to keep in mind, Karate Belt being such a key card. I mean, it's looking tough. I mean, even if Henry finds a way, to get this knockout, and it doesn't even look like he's going to play the Research here, Kyle, just going to be content with a 40 damage hit. And now Alex, if Alex can find like a switch card plus a Rapid Strike energy, he could close out the game.
Yep, looks like he's not even going to bother, though. I think even if both players sit here and do nothing, Alex is the one with 2 quick shooting abilities every turn. So he probably still wins, even if we're in like a stalemate where he never attacks again. It's just such a brutal spot in Henry. And this is why this Rapid Strike Urshifu VMAX deck gained so much from Inteleon. It just makes it so hard to play around anything. It is definitely one of the best decks in the standard format right now, and it's hard to play against. It's hard to know what to do on a lot of your turns when your opponent has so many options.
Yeah, especially in the hands of a great player like Alex, who's just able to masterfully set up damage and figure out exactly where counters need to go and knows the lines of play that are needed in order to map out the 6 prizes. And Henry can attack with this Ice Rider Calyrex VMAX, but it looks like it's going to have to be hoping to draw into the other VMAX. Unless we could see Shady Dealings come out here. Okay, hang on a second now, Kyle. This is now out of range of being knocked out, right?
Yeah, except there's 2 quick shooting abilities, yeah.
True.
Yeah, that's exactly the thing. You're like, I'm safe from this, right? Oh, wait, still no.
No.
Okay, cool. All right, I think Henry's found probably the only way he could possibly get out of this. He knows walking into Karate Belt is basically losing the game. So Alex hasn't played any draw supporter on his last couple turns. So Henry's saying, okay, if I can knock this out and you don't draw your Rapid Strike energy, maybe I knock this out. Maybe you never get to use G-Max Rapid Flow, and that's a potential way to steal this game.
Yeah, Alex choosing to hold off last turn and just kept that professor's research in hand. Went with, I guess, went the boss's orders route. Now all Alex needs is an energy card, and he'll have the pieces to close the game out. Has professor's research in hand, and very few cards remaining in deck. Let's see if Alex is able to find it. No, Kyle, no energy in hand. Just one rapid strike energy left in the deck.
Okay. So the awkward thing now, I think, is that Henry benched the Sobble, but it looks like Alex isn't even going to try to go for that easy prize. This is a weird game. Now, Alex does have that karate belt still, remember?
Right.
So all it takes is a rapid strike energy if Henry takes this knockout. You saw Henry prepare for this last turn. He actually attached energy to his Inteleon so that he could Aqua Bullet, which could potentially set up a 6 prize turn in 2 turns. This is great planning on Henry's part. But I mean, it still goes back to if Alex draws his energy, he still wins.
Yeah, I mean, Alex has Marnie, has research in hand, so should be able to draw those cards, and it doesn't look like Henry is going to go with the Aqua Bullet here. And we know Alex top decks the energy, had outs to draw into it regardless, and G-Max Rapid Flow will target the Sabo, will target that Ice Rider Calyrex VMAX, and another 2-0 victory for a player here in round 1, this time Alex Schemanske taking down Henry Brand.
Very well played by Alex. His winning streak continues here in Players' Cup events, and I think you can go back to an early turn in that game where Henry decided to discard Ordinary Rod with a quick ball. It might not have mattered unless Alex had boss's orders on that exact turn to knock out the Mew. And once you get that Mew knocked out, your shields are down, your bench Pokemon just get wrecked by G-Max Rapid Flow.
Yeah, losing the Ordinary Rod was absolutely brutal. And, you know, whenever you don't have that bench protection, G-Max Rapid Flow is one of the best attacks in the game, and it makes me kind of wonder what post-rotation is going to look like, Kyle. Mew Bench Barrier is leaving the format. G-Max Rapid Flow is a scary thing to think about moving forward, and Alex here, focused on the now, focused on this tournament, has still had a pretty easy time dealing with Mews thus far, it feels like.
Yeah, it feels like Mew should be your answer in that matchup, but all it takes is the boss's orders to knock out the Mew. And in very extreme situations, you can get 3 Inteleon in play and shoot down the Mew all in one turn and still give yourself access to G-Max Rapid Flow. It almost feels like you should be playing 2 Mew in your deck just to deal with this Rapid Strike Urshifu deck.
It does feel that strong, to be honest. Now, we've gotten to see some amazing games so far today, and if you guys are interested in learning more about any of these players, any of these decks, or the meta for this tournament, you know, exactly how it broke